Greetings, everyone. M.K. Mueller here, the author of 8 to Great and the Miracles Guaranteed coach. So those of you in the course right now know that I have lots of ways to manifest that we talk about in the course, and that money can come from literally an unlimited number of places and in an unlimited number of ways. So what's fun is when we ask for surprise money, one of our special miracles, right? Then we simply let it go and we say, okay, it's going to come whenever it comes. So the other evening I had put it on my list for this month. Yes, I want to manifest some surprise money. And I was over at my friend's watching a Red Sox World Series game, and he mentioned something called unclaimed funds. And I said, now what's that? And he said, you don't know about unclaimed funds? You might have a whole bunch of money sitting in funds that the government hangs on to. And I said, what? So for those of you completely unfamiliar with this, I'm going to give a 30-second explanation. But for those who are familiar with it, I'm going to give you 10 tips that by interviewing people at the state levels, they have given me all these tips. So I want to help you perhaps find money that you thought you had looked for, but you hadn't really looked thoroughly. So I feel like a treasure hunt. It just feels like a treasure hunt to me. And I feel like Santa getting to tell you all this fun information. So first of all, what are unclaimed funds? When you, let's say, put a deposit on something and then you cancel it, they're going to send you that deposit back in some situations. But if you, in the process, move and don't let them know, excuse me, and how can you keep track of all the people that you need to let know things, right? So we do our best, but it doesn't always happen. Well, what happens is they'll send the check and it won't get cashed. They cannot just stop sending you the check. They have to send the check somewhere. And so where they send it to is the state's unclaimed funds. Now, sometimes it's the state you live in. Sometimes it's the state they do business in. I mean, that's what's interesting about this whole thing. As an international speaker, I've done business in at least 40 states. Excuse me. So it's possible I would have unclaimed funds in all of those states. And so far, I've only checked 3. And I found what? I found unclaimed funds in all 3 of them. So I am very excited to share this all with you. Well, yeah, I'll just tell you right now. By the end of the first 3, now keep in mind I haven't checked ever. So at this age, right, it's over the last 30 years of being in business, I have never checked these unclaimed funds. So at this point, after only checking 3 states, I have $1,134 in checks coming to me in the next week. Just wonderful stuff, right? So let me give you the example of Nebraska. So I went into Nebraska, and you just type in unclaimed funds, state name, unclaimed funds, Nebraska. And then they're going to give you some cute little name like Iowa's the Great Iowa Treasure Hunt. They all pick cute little names for their sites. But you still just Google unclaimed funds, Kansas, unclaimed funds, Missouri, unclaimed funds, Florida. So you go in and it's going to ask for your name or your business name. So type in your last name. I'm going to recommend you not type in your first name. If you want to type in your first initial, unless your name's John Smith, good luck with that one. But I just typed in Mueller M. And this is, again, Nebraska, where I lived with raising my kids for 27 years. 3 things came up under Mary Mueller. I checked the address. It wasn't me. Another was Mary initial K Mueller. I checked the website. It was me. And the third one was something else. I think it was an MK Mueller, but it wasn't me. So I went over to claim, and you just click on claim, and then it comes up, hi, if this is you, we're going to need you to prove it. And there's 2 ways to prove it. Now, this is Nebraska only. You can call 877-572-9688. That's actually the number. And that might be all. She'll just ask you a couple questions so you can prove to her over the phone. And if it really is you, she'll send out the check the same week. When has the government ever been that efficient, right? If it's over a certain amount, they often ask you to do some paperwork. And that's, nothing you have to go to a notary for. I think it has to be over $2,000 for you to have to go to a notary. But it's just some information like, give us all, okay, this is one of the questions, be prepared. Give us all the addresses you lived or worked at in Nebraska. Well, I moved twice in Nebraska, but I moved my business 3 times. So that's a total of 5 businesses I had to know the address and the zip code of. Well, there was one address I couldn't remember. I just racked my brain, went through some Google Docs, tried to find it. And then I remembered there's a site called Ben Verified, BenVerified, benverified.com. And I had used it once to check on the character of somebody. I think it was somebody that asked me out. I'm not sure. But you can go in and just say, I only want to check on one person. And I think it's, I don't know, I think it was $9.95 or something like that. And you type in the name. So I typed in my name. And every address I've ever lived was right there. So you go to the Mary Kay Mueller, that's my age, right? So I found my age, and then I clicked on it and said, yes, I paid my $9.99. And there they all were. There was an address, a business address that I had used as a P.O. box I'd completely forgotten about. That was there too. So no problem. I just copied them all down. Now, in case she asks me over the phone, or in case I have to fill out the form, I'm ready with all that information. And sure enough, I called Kim the next morning, and she said, okay, what was the address that you lived at on, I don't know, Chicago Avenue or something? And I told her. And she said, oh, it's you. And then I had to do, a couple other things, like I think she asked for my Social Security number. So if you have concerns about these, do all the homework that you want to, but do check with other friends and family members, because 3/4 of the nation knows about this, guys. There are very few of us who have never checked for our unclaimed funds, and it's time. Yeah, this is a very common thing that people do. But of course, they're going to have to verify it's you, so they are going to have to ask for your Social Security number. All right, so what's next? Okay, ready for our tips now? So I asked Kim, I said, I'm going to write an article, and I'm going to do a Facebook Live on this. Do you have some tips for me? And she said, absolutely. So the first one I've already told you is have your addresses ready to go. Secondly, always, even if it says you have to fill out the form, always call the state first, because sometimes, even if it's, again, says over 500, you have to fill out the form, call first. They might just say, hey, you're verified enough, you don't have to fill out the forms. Let's see, the next one is always call the national website as well as the state websites. And so the national website is www.missingmoney.com, missingmoney.com. And she said, and here's another tip. Be careful, because there are scam national sites. And so make sure it has the clear mason jar with dollar bills in it. That's the correct national missing money site. There are a couple of fake missing money. It might be missingmoney.net or missingmoney.org or something, but missingmoney.com should take you right to the page that has a mason jar with lots of dollar bills in it. And then the same process. You type in your name and go from there. Excuse me. Here's the next tip. You don't just want to put in your name, you want to put in your business name and any variations of your business name. Oh my goodness. For me, it was Insight Inc. It was Insight Enterprises Inc. It was Insight Enterprises. So that's 3 different business names that I'm going to check not only on the national site, but on every state where I go in to check. I want to check my last name, Mueller, M, And then I want to also check all 3 of my business names. So I did, and again, in one of the states, I had something under Insight Enterprises, Inc., and there it was, my business address, so I knew it was me, and that state's person, it wasn't Kim, verified that it was me. The next tip was, while you're looking under your last name, look for your relatives. So you ready for this? My brother had money in Iowa. Oh, I forgot I checked Iowa too. Yeah, he had money. And so, of course, I texted him and I said, Jim, go on, check this out. My daughter had over $250 of funds waiting in the Nebraska thing because she lived obviously in Omaha for quite some time. Now, who knows? My daughter is the most organized person, not just with finances, with everything. So it's not just because I'm disorganized that I found this money. There are times when they typed in the name of your address wrong. And there's a million ways that check could have not gotten to you. So if it wasn't cashed, it will be sent to this location, the state unclaimed funds. And here's more good news. She said it doesn't expire. Well, good thing for me, because again, it took me all these years to figure it out. Another thing she said was, after someone dies or passes, my mom passed in December, they don't have to turn the funds over to the state for 5 years, which means if you had, let's say your father passed 4 years ago, you want to make sure to check next year, okay? Because it may be that he has 3 or 4 outstanding, fund amounts that they've been holding on to for the 5 years that it's legal to hold on to them. We found, we found under my dad's name, we found shares. He had 29 shares in something. We'd never heard of this. Now, if you do shares and you're not the only inheritor, whatever, like I'm one of 5 kids, so we're all heirs. There's the word I'm looking for. If you're one of multiple heirs, then all of the heirs have to fill out a form. They don't have to, again, go to a notary, just fill out a form so that they have everyone on board. How are we doing? Yep, got that. Oh, she said the best time to do this is the end of January, beginning of February, because the deadline is November for these funds to be turned over to the state, and sometimes it takes the states a couple months to sort everything out and update their databases. So she said end of January, beginning of February, great time to check. So of course I put it on my Google Calendar for every year, February 1 every year. There we go. Make sure you check unclaimed funds. Alrighty, I think we did that. Yeah, so she said it could be overpayment of something. It could be a utility deposit. It could be an insurance premium refund. It's fascinating, all the possibilities. But at the end of the call, I said, Kim, you have a really fun job. And she said, I do. And she was encouraging me to share this with you. She wants to get, no, I'm not going to say exactly how much, but I'm guessing hundreds of millions of dollars of unclaimed funds sitting there sometimes for folks that really need it. So I'm calling everybody, whether they, quote, need the money or not. I just want to get this word out to everyone and say, hey, guys, it's there. And again, I could see my cousins, 3 of my cousins, I got to make that phone call and go, hey, you've got unclaimed funds in Iowa's website. Just go in and, fill out the form, make the phone call, whatever, and you'll get some free checks. So it's a great way to feel like Santa Claus. Well, I hope this has been helpful. If you like, if you like the messages that I bring about attracting abundance in your life and allowing yourself to live your dream life on every level. Make sure you have signed up for my monthly emails. They're called highlights. And the way you do that is by getting out your phone and texting 828 is the message, but you send it to 22828. So again, you're sending it to the number 22828, and then you're typing into the box where you'd normally put the message 8 to great, the number 8, TOGREAT, all one word, and it will say, do you want to sign up for MK's newsletter? And you say, sure. And then, of course, you can cancel anytime. Not a problem, of course, it's free. And if you like these videos, feel free to subscribe. Have a great day, guys.